Beep, beep. I hear the door. When does the fair start? I see them beginning, I think things starting to accumulate down there at the fairgrounds. So
9:30, 10th, or something like that.
will we be the 11th?
There you go.
All right, so we'll be done with this class before we have to deal with that. I think they plan classes here kind of around that too, if I'm not mistaken. They try to avoid it because it really makes it difficult getting down here if you come any direction. Yeah. Okay, how's everybody doing? All right. And so if this is your first time, let's see, I have to remind myself I do this. So if you'd put your phones in meditate mode. And we'll start out, we'll just do a little bit of real quick meditation. And for those of you that have been here for the other ones, you can kind of do your own thing in terms of whichever meditation you want to do. And for those of you that this is your first time, what we do is there's a number of handouts that are all available on the website, so you can get in there and download all the ones we've had. We're up to number 10 now, so there's a slew of them out there. One of them is on 7-point posture. So the way we typically sit when we do a meditation is if you're on a cushion, you try to get yourself comfortable, whatever it is, your legs, however they're best comfortable. I find that if I sit towards the front of the cushions so that my hips are a little higher than the front of my legs, it kind of throws my pelvis open and it allows me to keep my back a little straighter. So you have to kind of play around with that a little bit. If you're in a chair, and you're welcome to go back and forth too, you don't have to stay in one or the other. If you're in a chair, you try to sit with your feet flat on the floor. Try to keep your back straight. So it may require that you not use the backrest and kind of sit away from the backrest a little bit. And then we imagine the crown of your head kind of being pulled up a little and allowing your jaw to kind of drop down a little bit. Your hands are comfortable in your lap, or whatever feels good. The traditional, in this tradition, it's the right hand inside the left hand with thumbs touching, but again, it's not critical, whatever you're most comfortable with. And then your eyes probably closed is a good idea. Some people, if you have trouble with sleepiness, we recommend you can kind of leave your eyes open a little bit, let a little bit of light in. And then your tongue sits at the roof of your mouth behind your front teeth. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take a few big breaths just in and out and kind of let go of everything, and try to let go mentally of everything that you had going on today or anything you got planned for tomorrow or whatever, and all your to-do lists, and just kind of allow yourself a clean slate to work with here. And then after you take a few breaths in and out and just kind of relax and let go of everything, I want you to count your breathing. If this is your first time, count your breaths as you inhale and exhale. That would be one breath, and then continue to count. And when your mind wanders, which it will, just gently pull it back to the breath and start counting again. And for those of you that have been to class, if you prefer, you can just follow your breathing, noticing the rise and fall of your abdomen or the air going in and out of the tip of your nose. And we'll do this for a few minutes, and then when I ring the bell, we'll end. If your mind has wandered off, gently bring it back to the breath. So again, gently bring your mind back to the breathing. Okay, nobody levitated. How was that? We do all right? First time, that was okay? All right. You find your mind wandering a little bit, not too much? Even if we've practiced, it's still something that you just struggle with. It's a constant thing. And the exercise is not, it's not to not allow your mind to wander, but in the beginning is catching it and bringing it back. That's the actually, you know, if I compare it to physical exercise, that's the rep, is catching your mind being not focused and bringing it back. So that's where the real benefit kind of comes in. And over a period of time, you'll be able to develop the ability to kind of stay focused longer and longer and longer. You just have to keep working with it. So how did, for those of you that have been here coming for a while, how did it go for the last week? Have you got things under control? Anybody have anything they want to share? Problems, things that went well? Did anybody try the changing the negative into a positive situation, have a chance to do that. I think we did that meditation last week, didn't we? Where we looked at something that went bad and we replayed it in our minds. So, did you have a chance to try that at all this week? Or did everything go great and you didn't have had no issues at all, right?
We should have used that.
We what?
We should have used that.
Yeah. Yeah, we forget about it. That's the thing, you know, we forget about some of these, we forget about these skills that we're trying to build up. But it's like anything else that we're practicing doing, we have to practice doing them, right? That's the only way we're going to learn how to do it, is we have to kind of remember and practice doing these exercises. Because we're really trying to change everything that's going on in our head, right? Change the whole story, change the outcome, change our attitudes. And it takes a lot of practice, a lot of work. We're so ingrained in our habits of mind. I mean, there's so much, we identify so closely with them that to change those is just a real struggle for us, you know? But what else are you going to do, right? This is practicing being happy. I mean, that's what we all want anyway, right? So there's opportunities, but it's like learning how to play the piano. You know, you can't just say, "Boy, I wish I could play the piano like that." You know, anybody can do that. You just have to practice and spend the time practicing. And you may never get to be a virtuoso, but you'll be considerably better off than you were before you started practicing, right? Or like a foreign language or anything else. So, anybody have anything from last week? Obstacles that they've run into? Yeah.
Staying focused on.
Oh, wait, I guess we need a microphone. Thanks, Sherry.
Yeah, I really like the Mind is an Ocean one. That's really good.
Oh, good.
But I had difficulty staying focused on some of the analytical meditations.
Okay.
So trying to go through the longer change one, trying to repeat that.
Okay.
I absolutely loved that in the class, but
On your own?
yeah, hard to do on your own.
Okay. Yeah, that was kind of a long one. And we'll do one this evening that might be a little easier from an analytical standpoint, but that's an important one to practice, you know, changing negative things into positive, right? Was that the one you're talking about?
I think we did kind of like a long.
Oh, change.
Yeah.
Impermanence.
Longer
Okay,
impermanence
okay.
one.
Right. Impermanence, change. Thank you. Yeah, and there's you know, you can condense that down and just think about something that's impermanent and just kind of, you know, go through that process with one thing. You know, we talked about the building of being impermanent and changing, what it looked like 50 years ago, 10 years ago, now, and then, you know, 10 and 50 years in the future, or clothing or anything like that, and just kind of sit with some of that for a little bit. Or your body, you know, we went through all of the cells that are jumping off us all the time and leaving us, and things that are coming in. So we're in a constant state of flux. So, you know, you can kind of condense that down a little bit with some practice. So, anybody else have anything they want to share from the last week or from since the beginning? Have you noticed any difference? Those of you that have been coming now, this is week number 4. Have you noticed anything subtle? Nah, not so much. Yeah.
I can't not speak, and I'll have to.
Please do. Yeah. We got a lot of time to fill up.
One of the interesting things I've found is that when there are moments when I've lost myself in an emotion, like I get like angry or something, and then go, oh wait, I missed my opportunity. So it's almost like an after the fact instead of being in front of it and watching the emotion go by. You're like, oh wait, that would have been a great opportunity to not get connected, which I still think is progress. Because even if it's an after the fact replay, you're replaying it over, is going, how would I have done that differently? And then sometimes you actually do it right, but every now and then, like last night, I got really frustrated about something, and I was like, I look back, it's like, I could have handled that differently, and I wonder how
that's
it
great.
would have. So.
No.
It's funny, but even then, you're still thinking about it that way.
But that's perfect. Yeah, and there's a story that I've heard a number of times, and that fits in perfectly. So there's a guy walking down the street, you might have heard this, and he falls into a hole, all right? And the next day he walks down the street and he falls in the hole. And then the third day he walks down the street and he goes, oh, there's a hole, and he fell into it. The fourth day he walks down the street and he goes, there's a hole, and he walked around it, you know? And then the fifth day he took a different street. So you're at that point where like you fell in the hole again, but you know that you fell in the hole again. So that's good. You're well on your way. That's key. And then you'll begin thinking about these things as they arise, which is good. I'm here in this hole. You know, how can I make this hole a little less deep or whatever, you know? That's good. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else? Those are things, because you're noticing now that your mind, you're noticing when you're not controlling your mind, but your mind's kind of controlling you, you know, which happens a lot. There's a meditation tanka. I guess it's out in the lobby area. You'll see that's got like a path with elephants, little pictures of elephants on it, and that's supposed to be the practice. And I'm going to get this wrong, so don't quote me on this. It's being videotaped, right? So, but you know, it starts out with, so what is it? Got a monkey and a rabbit and an elephant and a man. But the elephant's the mind, and the man is behind it, right? The elephant's gray, and he's chasing after it. And as he goes along the path, and the monkey mind, right, is there. That's got the elephant that is pulling away. I forget exactly what the rabbit represents. But as he progresses on the path, at some point you see the man is finally sitting on the elephant, is taking control. And the elephant has gone from gray to white gradually. You have to look at the picture out there. But he finally manages to get control. But it's a process, right? He gets a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, until he finally has got full control. But the first part is recognizing that, you know, your mind is going where it wants to, and seeing that. One of my authors that I like to read back in the 70s, Baba Ram Dass, some of you might have heard of him. He had a book, Be Here Now, and he had a thing in there that said, you know, you're in jail, and the first thing you have to do to get out of jail is to realize you're in jail, you know? And a lot of people are in prison, then they don't know it. So recognizing that your mind is doing what it's doing is really the first big step in doing that. And again, you're way ahead of so many folks on this planet that have not even, you know, begun finding exploration of the mind, at least fascinating at all. So in Buddhism, they would say that we have a life of leisure and opportunity. So do we do the practice on what it would be like, the meditation to live in another country or be an animal and that kind of thing? That may be coming up. Okay, spoiler alert. But you know, we have everything available to us. We're not spending all of our day looking for our next meal. We're not worried about all of the things that so many people on the planet are worried about. You know, we've got all of these first world problems. We'll do a meditation on this tonight. But again, I'm jumping ahead of myself. But you know, we have opportunities to do this, and yet most of us fill that spare time with really frivolous kind of things that we think is going to make us happy, but ultimately doesn't really provide any lasting satisfaction, right? Fun and entertainment, I call it. And fun and entertainment just doesn't last very long. So when you start practicing this, you start finding different levels of happiness, generosity and compassion and empathy and all sorts of things that kind of are just available to you. They're available to everybody. You know, you don't have to have money for it. You don't have to have anything. You just have to be able to sit and conjure it up in your head. So you have these opportunities to practice, but so many of us just don't take advantage of those opportunities. So, and they say that, you know, being human is a precious opportunity. because if we were born in one of the other realms, like the animal realm, we wouldn't have the opportunity to practice these things. So it's a very rare opportunity. It's a precious gift, and a lot of times we just kind of throw it away, like Vegas, you know. We just kind of gone. So these are opportunities to practice. And I think about the people that maybe, you know, y'all, for those of you that have been coming every week, and I know sometimes we can't make it, and that's, you know, that's fine, but there's a fair number of folks, you can just tell by looking around, that you know, maybe came to 1 or 2 classes, and tonight they might have fallen into, well, you know, the meditation is good. I learned something that was valuable, but you know, there's something I want to watch on TV tonight, or there's something else I want to do, and so you kind of get distracted. So you get a taste of it, you know, but you don't really kind of get into it really well. So, you know, I encourage you to really try to make a daily practice out of this as much as you can, even if it's a short amount. You know, really try to commit to it. So there I went. Yeah. Anything else? Anybody got any? So in setting up your practice, and I know I've talked about this, and again, there's handouts that will have this on, you know, the description on it. You want to have a particular space that you can set, and hopefully some of you have already kind of established an area that you've kind of designated. This is where I'm going to do my little meditations or whatever. You want to try to establish some habit of times, you know, time of day, and you can experiment with that a little bit. Morning, night, whatever works for you. Most people seem the morning works a little better for a lot of folks, so that may be what goes. But whatever you can do, you know. And then there's 4 steps that they talk about in this handout, 4 parts. Preparation. So you've got your area, you got your time, so you're going to prepare. And that might just be like the 9-round breathing that we've done in the past, or something just to kind of calm your mind and bring yourself to that space. All right, I'm going to practice. Just like you would, you know, get prepared to practice a musical instrument or go to the gym or whatever, you're trying to set your mind that, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to practice my meditation, you know. So prepare for that. Calm your mind down. If you have things, you know, try to get them out of your head, or at least put them to the side for a short period of time. We've talked before about if you have to have a notepad or something, I'll do that. Where if something comes to my mind and it just kind of keeps eating at me, I'll jot it down so I won't forget, and then I can kind of refocus on my meditation. And then you want to set a motivation for doing it, you know. They talk about in here, generate the highest, broadest, most altruistic purpose for meditation and for that day. So try to think about, you're doing this for the benefit. We'll say in the Kadampa Center here, we'll talk about for the benefit of all sentient beings, right? So every living creature. But that includes yourself. And if it starts out just me and my family, that's okay, or me and my friends. And then, you know, over time you kind of expand that scope of why you're doing this meditation. I think about that now, you know, if everybody on the earth practiced these things, all of the problems would go away pretty quickly, you know, but we don't. So, but that can be your intention, right? You can set your motivation up like that. So you can kind of expand that scope, and we'll do some meditations on that, kind of touch on that a little bit here this evening too. And then do your meditation, whatever you've decided you're going to do, if it's going to be just counting the breath, if it's going to be an analytical meditation, if you have a recording that you want to listen to. I'll have books. You might have a book, and it doesn't have to be a Buddhist book. It can be something out of the Bible, or whatever thing inspires you. If you want to do an analytical meditation and think on that for a while and just try to drill in on it, that's good. And then at the end of your practice, you know, set a dedication. Say, all right, I did it. I did this, and out of that, hopefully this is going to make me a better person and impact everybody else around me too, okay? So that your session actually has like bookends on it, right? A beginning and an end. And it's not just kind of grab it as you can. And that helps formalize it a little bit, and you'll start to get into your own kind of routine and get some ritual going with it. And eventually, you might want to expand it. And then people have, they'll set up altars at home with some things on it, maybe pictures of people that are meaningful to you, and different things that you may enjoy or whatnot. And it'll kind of grow into something. And you'll begin to, then you'll have something like this at home. And if you've ever been to our teacher's house, Geshe-la's house, he's got something like this at his house. It's pretty impressive. He's got a huge altar set up. So, does that make sense? Anybody have any questions on that? And like anything else, that intention of I'm going to do this. And again, if you go to the gym or if you're going on a trip, you have to kind of get your mindset that I'm going to do this, and that's what motivates you to actually do it, And then you could say, all right, it's done, and make that intention kind of the driving force. That's what when they talk about karma, it's action, but it's actually the intention that drives that action that kind of gives us that positive and negative karma that they talk about. So. That's a really important thing. All right, I've got an opportunity to let you break out in groups. I love the breakouts. It's built into the agenda. And you're going to discuss benefits that you've seen over the last few weeks and any problems that you might have had in setting up your meditation. But I'll let you talk about it with each other a little bit. And if you're new, get in with a group of folks that have been coming for a little bit, and that might help kind of understand what's going on a little bit. All right? Any questions? That's pretty simple. It seems like when you just get these simple instructions, things kind of start rolling, so we'll just leave it at that. I'll ring the bell when the time's up. just a couple more minutes. Okay. Anybody have anything they want to share? Any insights?
Okay, I'll buy one more time.
There you go. Good, good.
I will do it without the microphone. I refuse.
Yeah.
The one thing that I realized when I started the first night, turning off my phone gave me anxiety. And
Oh, wow.
because I was like, I'm connected, and I have to be connected for my job, blah, blah, blah. But the second and third and fourth time, I'm suddenly looking forward to turning off my phone.
Oh, cool.
Because when we were talking about it, but it really did come out. It's like, I like this. This is actually letting me turn things off and just focus on one thing at a time.
Oh,
So it
good
looks
for
kinda
you.
cool.
Yeah. And you didn't get in any trouble for having your phone shut off for an hour and a half, huh?
Maybe the second night I did.
Well, you know,
When I didn't tell somebody I was turning my phone off for an hour and a half.
I mean, okay. Well, some people's jobs are such. I think a lot of people think that they have to have their phone available all the time. I think it's a kind of a state of mind for a lot of folks. But yeah, to be able to let go of that, it's an important thing, isn't it? Feels pretty good. Thank you. Anybody else? That's it, right? That's it. You just can let go of things. You can let go of things that don't matter. And then you can decide to hold on to things that do matter, you know. And they're all around, the things that matter. We just tend to not see them, you know. They're not clear to us because we're always chasing after something. It's that carrot on that stick, and we're never going to get the carrot. Well, I was thinking about that the other day. We'll never be the top of the heap. They'll move the heap, right? There's a book, Who Moved My Cheese? Remember that book a number of years ago? Yeah. Your cheese and your heap and your carrot, it's all going to get moved. That's because, you know, that's what samsara is all about. That's what Buddhism talks about, suffering, right? We think suffering means it's just horrible things. And that's included, but there's this constant underlying, probably a better description is dissatisfaction, you know? We just never get quite what we want. And they call that suffering. And they say you can end it, you know? There's a way to end that suffering. And they've spelled out how to end it, you know? So that's what the whole, that's Buddhism in a nutshell, right? Those are class, I don't want to use that term, but I mean, that's what it boils down to. You can choose to end it. And, you know, and I think, you know, getting to your point, it's hard to let that go. It's hard to change our habits of thinking because they're so ingrained. There are such habits. When I was, before the class, Jill was out there, and I did the thing with the arms crossing. Do y'all remember that? Cross your arms and then cross them with the other one on top, and how hard that is to do it. So that she had this one where you with your foot you make a 6, and then you try to make a 9 with your hand, you can't do it. Try it. If you're sitting in a chair, stick out your right foot and try to draw a 6, and then try to draw with your right finger a 9, and your foot will go the other direction. Yeah, at the same time. Yeah. Draw the 6 with your foot, and then draw a 9 with your hand.
Okay,
What
is
ha-
that like,
Yeah, it's kind of like the hand, you know. Now you could do it if that became your life goal, was to do that. You could do that, right? But you know, a lot of stuff is just kind of hardwired. You can overcome that. And so, you know, these are things that we just have to kind of practice and learn to let go. But that's what it all boils down to, is it's all in our head. And so we can learn to let go of those things that are causing us, that are not allowing us to be happy. They talk about obscurations. It's not, you know, at the heart of it, we've got this Buddha nature, but we've got all this other stuff piled on top of it. We can't see it. So the whole practice is removing all of that garbage that's got it all kind of buried, you know. And then at the heart of that, we've all got this enlightenment. And it takes some of us many, many years and lifetimes, right, for us to be able to start scratching off some of that stuff. But that's something that you, as a person, as a mind, have the ability to do and control that as a conscious, as a sentient being. So, anybody else have anything they want to share from the discussion? I'm going to do this other meditation. And this is it's an analytical meditation. This isn't one of the handouts. This is just one that was in another book. It's called Ready, Set, Happy, that one of our members had written. But this is the bottle of water. Got a little bit of dirt in it too. So, but I'll refer to that a couple of times during this meditation. So I'll just set it up there so you can see it and think about it if you want to. So what I want you to do is, you know, get in your meditation posture and position. So feet flat on the floor, your seat firmly on the cushion, back straight, head up, chin down, hands comfortable, eyes closed, and tongue at the roof of your mouth, behind your front teeth. And take a few big breaths in and just kind of let go of any thoughts. And I'll talk you through this one. And visualize, again, through this meditation, you know, we're going to do this for the benefit of ourselves and all the people around us, and help become a little happier. That's our motivation. I want you to think about what it would be like to live in a country, sub-Saharan Africa somewhere, in a small village, with your family. And you get up in the morning, you might be a child, or the women typically will do this too, and your job is to go get water. And you have buckets and pails that you carry, and you start walking. And it's still relatively early, so it's not too hot yet, but you're walking, and you've got quite a walk, maybe a number of miles. And when you finally get to this area that you call a well, it's gotten quite warm out. And this well is just a mud hole. And there's animals drinking out of it. It's obviously filthy. There's things that you can see that are making it filthy, and there's lots of things that you can't see that are making it contaminated by our standards. And you fish this water out. It's warm. And scoop it up in your buckets and containers. And they're quite heavy at this point. And then you start walking back to your village. But this time it's gotten quite warm. It's gotten hot out. And you might get back around noon, and that's your water for the day. That's the water that you use to drink, to cook with, to clean. And then the next morning you get up and do it again. And every day you do this to get this water. In a lot of these villages, if you're female and this is your job, you don't get education because you don't have time to get education. You spend half your day getting water. Or what you call water. It looks much like what was in this bottle up here. And yet you're quite content doing that every day. Now think about yourself here in North Carolina. If you want water, you walk over to a box on a wall, metal box, and push a button, and cold, pure water comes out of it. You turn on a spigot and you get water, hot or cold. You flush the toilet. You flush the toilet and you've used a day's worth of water for someone in another country. And you use water that's much cleaner than what they would drink. The water that we get out of the spigot for a lot of us isn't good enough. So we buy bottled water or have water purifiers. We walk past the water fountains daily, and a lot of us won't even come close to those. Just take a moment to kind of sit with the gratitude that you have in thinking about water and your opportunity for it. Okay, anybody have any thoughts about that? Could you find yourself being grateful for having water? Could you hold on to that gratitude for a length of time? And then what happens? It kind of starts to slip away a little bit. Or did you hold on until I rang the bell? We kind of drift off, right? Anybody have any thoughts about that meditation? That's an easy one to do on your own, right? You just think about haves and have-nots, you know, and what we have. Geez, I was power washing my deck a couple weeks ago, and I started thinking about that. I thought, why am I doing this? I felt so guilty. Thoughts? Yes, please. Yep, gotta wait for the microphone.
So, I'm not sure how to frame this, so I'll just move my mouth and things will come out, I suppose.
Okay.
So, my thought on that is that gratitude is gratitude no matter what part of the world we live in. And I think, you know, as I put myself in the position of a woman in, you know, said village, I felt grateful in my heart that, like, this is what I do, you know, like I provide this for my family.
Right.
And, you know, when it came to not modern, but just my life and the ease of access to water, I also felt grateful. And so for me, it was just kind of this vibration of gratitude, and I relished in that. I just loved it so much. And, you know, with power washing your deck, you know, you were taking care of your deck.
Yeah, well,
like,
I know.
Yeah, like it's a good thing. It's a good thing. But I just think no matter where we walk, you know, no matter where we come from, gratitude is gratitude. And it's just important. Like, I found myself like, gosh, I want to like go on walks, and I want to have like gratitude moments, you know, where I'm looking at trees, and I'm doing that more. So thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Yeah, you know, and I've done this meditation with people in the class that grew up in a country where they had to go get water. And they said, you know, they're happy. They're happy people. And so, and I, you know, I said the point isn't to think that people in that situation are miserable. The point is for us to begin to be grateful for those little things that we have that we're just not grateful for. We don't think about, right? We just kind of take them for granted. And that's where there's opportunity, like I think like you're explaining, there's opportunity all around us to be grateful for things that we just take for granted, you know? That's part of the suffering is, you know, thinking that, all right, they've opened a Publix by my house, now my life will be complete, but it won't be, you know? No, I mean, there's 5, you know, there's all these grocery stores around. It's not like that's gonna make any difference. You know, nothing against Publix or whatever, but, you know, that's not gonna do it. The fact that I have that available is something that I just totally ignore sometimes. And there's opportunities to sit and be grateful for that. And if you can hold on to that feeling like you did, and other people, if you can kind of hold that feeling, it feels really good. I mean, it's a really comfortable, nice feeling to be grateful. And so the point of the focused meditations is then when we do this analytical meditation, we can sit with that for as long as we want to. And, you know, if you could feel that sensation of gratitude or kindness, and there's all sorts of positive emotions, if you can sit with those as long as you want to, that, you know, at some point that becomes what they define nirvana. You know, you just kind of sit in this bliss, being able to hold that as long as you want to. There's no point to worry about anything, you know? You can kind of let go of all of it and just kind of sit there with that, you know? Now, we're a long way from there. I am anyway. But, you know, the longer you can kind of work with that focus meditation, and then you do these things, and you start to, this stuff begins to kind of spill into your daily living. I had a guy a number of years ago talk about, he was doing his class, and we had done that, and he came back the next week, and he said he was out on that Sunday playing golf, and he was having a lousy game. And at one point, he was so frustrated, he was getting ready to throw his clubs. And he said, I stopped and thought about that water. And he said, here I am, it's a Sunday afternoon, the sun's shining, I'm out here knocking a little golf ball around with not a care in the world, and there's no reason for me to be upset because I'm not playing a good game of golf. He said, and it just all kind of dissipated, you know. And I said, that's what you want to be able to do, you know, that's kind of the goal, is to let go of that, so. And these are things that these are analytical meditations that you can kind of do on your own. You know, think about that. Think about something you have to be grateful for. You know, our teacher talked about, and again, I apologize if I repeat myself a lot, but he's talked about, you know, we have more food in our grocery stores than a lot of places in the world. He said we have more pet food in our aisle than they had food in their entire grocery store. You know, which is true. And I've got all of these grocery stores around me. He says if having material things makes you happy, then why is there so much misery in the United States? And that's a good point. You know, we're just not grateful for the things that we have. We don't feel that sense of gratitude. I didn't have any electrical loss during Florence, you know. I kind of got spared that. Didn't even flicker. But I think people that didn't have any around here and all the mess they had. And then I think about countries where it's, you know, they're lucky if they have electricity for a few hours a day. You know, you kind of have to live your life around when the electricity is going to come on, when it's going to go off. We don't think about that, you know. If out for 5 minutes, we're on the phone. Hey, what's going on? So, the internet out. Cable's not working. I can't get 600 channels. It'll never, you know, it'll never satisfy us. It just won't. And you begin to kind of see that, you know, in your day-to-day. I hate to make anybody depressed out of this, but when you start realizing that, you know, some of these things just aren't gonna do it, and you start letting go of some of that, you have to start looking for then something that does kind of provide that comfort, you know, and this is all right there. And it doesn't make a difference if you're rich or poor or your background or whatever it is. Everybody has the opportunity to do this and practice these things. So. Any other thoughts on that meditation or any of the discussion? All right. On that cheery note, let's move on. I do have another meditation that we'll do. It's another kind of it's a visualization. This is one of them in the handouts. It's called Purification with Light. And then next week we'll do kind of a variation on this one. All right, so I want everybody to kind of get in their meditation posture. We're going to try to run this one just a little bit longer. See if we can kind of keep it going a little bit. I'll stop when people start squirming. So take a few big breaths in and out. Kind of let go. And then just kind of focus your breath, focus on your breathing, focus your mind on your breath going in and out. And then kind of set your motivation for doing the meditation. And then just allow your breath to kind of go in and out naturally. Focus on the complete duration of the inhalation and exhalation. Now as you exhale, imagine that all your negative energy, past mistakes, distorted conceptions, disturbed emotions are leaving your body with the breath. Visualize all this negative energy as dark smoke. And as you exhale, you send it out into space where it disappears completely. Keep visualizing this repeatedly. So as you breathe out all these negativities again and again, feel confident that you're gradually freeing yourself from all traces of negativities, faults, sickness, and delusions. Then as you inhale, imagine that all the positive energy in the universe enters your body with the breath in the form of pure, radiant light. Visualize this light flowing through your nostrils, down into your body, into every part and corner of your body, pervading every cell, every atom, every organ. Your body gradually becomes clearer and clearer, lighter and lighter, and more transparent. You feel more and more relaxed, light and blissful. Visualize this continuously. And then continue to breathe and concentrate on the experience, breathing out the dark smoke of your problems, illness, negative energies, and breathing in the light of purifying good energy. Continue that for the rest of the meditation. If you find yourself distracted by feelings, sensations, or thoughts, simply observe them without distracting, without reacting or getting involved. And then imagine they too transform into the smoke, and then breathe them out into oblivion. If your mind has wandered, gently bring it back to the breathing. In with the light, out with the smoke. Okay, 10 minutes. It's a little bit longer, huh? Was it not long enough for some people and too long for others? You know? So find your sweet spot. Any thoughts on that meditation? Were you able to continue it? Probably not the whole meditation, I'm guessing. I couldn't. But everybody else? Anybody able to do that?
I only dropped it at the very end.
Oh, good, good, good. She said she just dropped it at the end. That's good. Yeah. Was that a helpful meditation? Some people like the visualizations, you know, the light. We'll do another one next week. Have we done one of those before? We've done some, I think, haven't we? It's not quite an analytical meditation, but you just visualizing thing, you know. I'm sorry?
I think it helps, you know, as you're inhaling and then exhaling, and then so you can have that focus. I don't know, it just
Yep,
helps you.
got the microphone.
Sorry. I think it just helps you stay on focus if you have something to think about. So
Right.
inhaling light, exhaling smoke.
Yeah,
And then so there's that pattern that just stays there.
right.
So that was.
That's
I-
good.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. And that a lot of people like the 9-round breathing for the same reason, right? It gives them something to focus on. You know? Any other thoughts? All right. So you can practice that over the next week. Try to remember to do the transforming negative into positive. If you have an opportunity, you'll have opportunities. We all have opportunities all the time, right? There's opportunities. That was one of the things that they talk about. So this is formal practice, right? Then you get a chance when you're off the cushion to practice this stuff in real life. And they'll tell you that all you're surrounded by teachers, right? People are trying to help you learn. There's opportunities all around. Sparring partners, right, that you get to practice with. So take advantage of those opportunities, you know. We'll miss them. So practice that one, transforming negative and positive. And again, these are all on the web page if you need a copy of them. And see if you can set up your practice with those 4 components, you know. For those of you that already kind of start a formal one, you may be already doing that, but see if you can kind of get those to be part of the routine as well. So, and then we'll bring experiences back to share. Next week's our last session, so you know you can always take it again. There's other teachers doing this, so you'll get some different stories. Some similar ones, but some different ones too. Anybody have any questions or anything? 8:23, we finished early. I should have done 15-minute meditation. We would have really been squirming. Yes, please.
Would you go over the 4 components again?
Yeah, and those are part of the handout. They're in there. So it is preparation, either through a method or bringing yourself to prepare to do your meditation, your motivation, the actual meditation that you're doing, and then the dedication. Okay? That'll just, those will just kind of be part of it at some point too, you know. So it's like getting ready for the gym, you know, you have to get this ready and that ready and do this and that. And afterwards you did that and you feel good about it. You may not have enjoyed it, but you feel good about it. And at some point you maybe do enjoy it, right? So, any other questions? All right, we'll see you all next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.